the professor, Jason Jones of The Athletic. Brody, we really got to get that laptop replaced.
Yeah, well, update. We've submitted the forms, and an update, a laptop, a new one, like one that's like made this decade, should be on the way in the near future.
That's exciting. That's
I mean,
exciting.
yeah, it's amazing when every week you turn on your laptop and something else doesn't work.
That's crazy.
Jason turned the laptop on and it said, "Child, please."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the late great Bill Soliday covered the Raiders. He used to have this thing where one time he told us it was a laptop at a Raider game. The whole screen was sideways.
Oh my!
So I'm just waiting for me to open up the laptop and the screen's upside down. It's talking back. It's doing something crazy. Yeah. I mean, if they weren't making me work this week, I would just throw the thing away. It's just, it's a pain. I mean, yeah. No, yeah.
All bad. But if the information I got is correct, you got a chance to go to the California Classic? You been down to the Chase Center this weekend?
Yeah, I went down there on Sunday to check it out. So, of course, I show up and Keegan Murray can't make a shot. So, yeah, it's my fault.
Keep Jason away at all costs. Lock him out of the building.
That's probably why they didn't let people in today, to keep Jason Jones out of there. Watching the Lakers play the Kings in the Summer League Championship of the World, can't have Jason Jones in here cheering for the Lakers.
Have me in there with my biased reporting on Scottie Pippen Jr. I'm like, that's got to be the steal. Still have me just with my obvious negative anti-King slant. I got to make something up that I don't know. The biggest thing I kept hearing everybody complain about was how come the game were in San Francisco, and I was like, I guess they're rotated. I mean, okay.
Yeah, I mean that's
what
they're gonna do. I mean, this from the looks of it, in my opinion. I know you've been to 1,000 summer leagues, so you're not really tripping, but it just looked like there wasn't any vibes in the Chase Center compared to how it was at the Golden One Center. But you were there, I wasn't there. So what'd you think about it?
It was summer league vibe to me. I mean, and if several people tweeted at me and mentioned, and people I talked to, for God's sake, it is San Francisco. I mean, there's a lot to do in San Francisco other than watch practice basketball. I mean,
okay, and help me out with this one, Jason, because you would know very well as well. I don't think San Francisco, I don't think the Bay Area is a basketball town. I don't think that's a basketball space. And I used the example, I said, there's a lot to do in LA as well, but if they have the California Classic in LA, I think they'll have vibes in there because that's a basketball place. That is a basketball city. LA is. Sacramento's the same way on a different scale, but it's the same way. I just don't think the Bay Area is that crazy about basketball.
Well, I think the Bay Area loves basketball.
I love the Warriors. I don't think they love basketball.
I think the vibe of Chase Center is just much different than it's ever than it was in Oakland. It's just a different vibe, and I just couldn't, I'm just like, okay, I think just in terms of environment, you probably, if they just want like environment, keep it in Sac. But I mean, there's also this logistical thing of making one team be responsible for everything every year. And so I think that's part of the reason why you take turns with it over time, is because as great as it is for the fans in Sacramento, that's also man hours and in labor for the Kings organization. Mm-hmm. Whereas you go down to Chase, they're a guest. So I mean, and then like I said, there's just like logistically fairness, all that stuff that goes into it. I figure, hey, if you want Kings fans, make a weekend of it. Hey, take if you're if you're in a relationship, take your person down to San Francisco. Catch some summer league action. Walk the pier; it's not that far away. If you're a baseball fan, the Giants in town too.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see them.
Hey, there was plenty. I mean, you could have made a cool weekend out of it. I think 4th of July weekend too.
Jason,
I mean, have a good time.
Jason just suggested going to watch preseason summer league basketball and the San Francisco Giants in the same session. So in the interest of keeping you in your current relationship, I strongly advise you do not follow that advice.
Have you seen the way the Giants have
I
played
know a
the
lot of
last 2
Kings
weeks?
fans who are Giants fans.
You can I'd say
I
make
wouldn't do it.
make a 10-minute stop at each. Yeah. Like,
I
okay.
wouldn't do it, but hey, that might be a cool weekend for a Giants/Kings fan.
I thought about doing it. I had other things to do.
Yeah,
around
for
here.
a fan, I'm sure. But when you throw in like the person and the significant other, that's where it's like, it's hard for me to think 2 people are going to think going to a preseason summer league game and a San Francisco Giants game right now is a good look.
They're out there.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
I don't live with one of them, but they're out there.
If you tell your woman, I'm going to the Bay Area for the weekend to watch summer league basketball and the Giants, she's not going to believe you. She's like, you're seeing somebody down there. Nobody wants to watch that. She's like, you're meeting somebody there, So you might as well, make a family trip. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people do it for Vegas all the time for summer league. Make a nice little trip out of it.
Yeah.
By the way, it in perhaps the greatest game in the history of California Classic Championships of all time, the rivalry is back. The Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Lakers are locked at a 43-43 tie at halftime.
My God, that's Matt Coleman's music. Matt Coleman's
This is going right up there with the Western Conference Finals.
There'll be a 30 for 30 on this game.
Frankie Ferrari 7 points. Oh yeah.
Keegan Murray will be retired and reflect on what this game meant to his legacy.
Matt Coleman with 9 points in the 4-4. Put that man's jersey in the summer league rafters, man. This is Jason. This is our time. This is King's time right now.
If we remember Keegan Murray's stat line from the first game, I'd say in December, that just means Keegan's off to a horrible start to his career. So let's just hope that we can all remember summer league basketball. If we're talking about guys' summer league stats, I mean, it's cool to watch, but it's like it's not NBA basketball.
It's bad.
You're playing with guys who aren't NBA players. Right. You're playing with guys who are trying to get jobs. So sometimes that ball is going to stick, because that guy is trying to get get a job somewhere.
Yeah.
I always feel sorry for the bigs because no one cares about them in summer league. They're just there to run up and down the court and get in shape.
Well, that's 2 things I got to ask you about that. Number one, I want to know what you typically get out of summer league basketball. Just, because I think there are some things to get out of them. It's not a complete waste of time, but I don't think there's a whole lot. And then we talked earlier about Neemias Queta. And I just didn't like what I saw from him, but that goes into what you're talking about with like the big men. They just have no shot in summer league a lot of the times, huh?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the big men. Like, I remember hearing stories of how horrible Tim Duncan was in summer league. Like, they were like, oh my God, he sucks.
Damn.
And I think Tim Duncan turned out okay. Just a lot of times, it's just a bad situation for bigs because you don't have a whole lot of practice time. And teams aren't really running things. Just, you have situations where they do it, but like I said, you're playing with, a lot of guys who have the ball who are trying to get, latched onto another G League team, another roster, maybe overseas. Yeah. So, they're probably figuring, I'm not going to get a job by showing off my post-entry pass skills. I'm going to try to get some buckets, and so it's always tough. But the one thing a big guy usually can do in summer league is rebound and be a force around the paint because everyone's trying to score. So you would hope that your big guys show out, but then you can gain some things definitely from it. A lot of times you have teams start to implement their system and seeing how a guy works with their system, or which you'll use summer league for, like what the Warriors are doing. We're doing a little bit with Moses Moody. Moody's never going to be the primary ball handler in a regular season game. Mm-hmm. But in summer league, Moses Moody can handle the ball all he wants, and work on that skill. So I look for things like that. What type of thing is a player working on that he won't get that chance to work on probably in the regular season? No, there's things like that you take from it. And I think I've said before, I've only seen maybe once or twice where I saw in summer league game and said, "Oh my God, that guy's in trouble. That guy won't make it."
And Macklemore?
No, it's Thomas Robinson.
Oh my God!
I watched him. I said, "Oh my God." I was like, "Oh my God." I was what was my man's name? Forget it. His first name begins with an S. Last name Samuels. Like summer league veteran.
Oh, I
I think he
kind
might
of
have spent some
remember.
time with the Bulls, like Samari Samuels or something like that.
Mm.
And he just gave Thomas like this work, and I was like, "This is not good." And I was just sitting there going, "This is not good." I mean, because there was just nothing Thomas could do right, and I was like, "This is not good." And that was the one time, even with Ben, it was like, it wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw Thomas, I didn't see an NBA player. I said, "That's scary." I said, "I hope it's just a summer league fluke," because he had a rough go of it at the summer. But again, he was a front court player. So you said, "No, what? Maybe it's just that." But then you get to the regular season, and then they want him to be an energy, hustle, rebound guy, and Thomas wants to shoot.
Well, at least they didn't draft him and pass up on anyone who could have changed the fortunes of this franchise. So that's a positive.
Remember, if you're in Sacramento, the draft stops after the Kings pick.
That's
Doesn't
right.
matter who went after them.
Nothing.
Doesn't matter.
Nothing catastrophic happened later on in that draft either. We haven't had it.
They got one of those guys eventually. Harrison ended up there. Eventually.
Thank you for that, Jason Jones.
Keeping it positive. They say I'm too negative. I keep it positive.
This new positive Jason Jones, man. I like it. We haven't had a chance to talk about the last couple of days of free agency last week. What did you think of the additions of Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter from Atlanta?
I like the Huerter deal a lot because they need not just shooting, they need some shooting that's taller than 6'3".
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you need some size, and I think Monk will be a good, probably reserve role type guy for them. Not crazy paid. I think if Buddy Hield made a similar salary to Malik Monk, a lot of the vitriol aimed at Buddy might have calmed because you're not thinking, okay, he's taking $20 million a year to do this.
Right.
And I think, I still want to see how they end up looking defensively, just because, but I think this is really all about De'Aaron now. You got him a guy in Sabonis. You've added two guys who can shoot with Huerter and Monk, two legit NBA guys, not kind of a fringe. We're trying to create a guy into a role type player. So now I think you can open up the floor. And I like the Huerter deal a lot because they needed some size on the perimeter in the worst way. This like trying to use 6'3" guys at small forward for the last 3 years is just not going to cut it. It was, and to me that was part of why they were so bad on defense. They're just too small. I mean, everybody they tried in those roles, even going back to Amon Shumpert, they gave it the all. But when you're 6'4", 6'5", and the other team's wing is 6'9", there's only so much you can do. And they were trying to do that. I mean, they had Buddy playing that role, which was not fair to Buddy. You
Not
can't.
fair to us either.
Yeah, asking Terrence Davis, who's a good athlete, but asking him to defend LeBron is maybe not the most ideal situation. So because you got some length, got some shooting. I still think TD can be a factor for them in some type of role with his athleticism, and that he's shown he can shoot as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like what they did. I did. It's easier to say bye to Dante when you add a guy like Huerter in his place. I mean, I think we all were wondering, like, well, I want you to, enter the qualifying offer. How's that going to hurt you?
Yeah.
But no, I like what they did. I really like what they did. I think it should open up the floor for De'Aaron, give Sabonis some options, whether he's low post, mid post, high post, and just got to figure out how you're going to defend somebody at some point. But I think they've upgraded the roster with those additions in Murray at this point.
I was just about to ask you that. Like, I know everything's on paper right now because there's been no games played, but it feels like this is one of the better roster upgrades that they've had throughout this entire drought, with people that make sense for what they're trying to do. It seems like a cohesive unit, or it could be a cohesive unit, as opposed to just randomly getting Rajon Rondo or George Hill or Zach Randolph or anything like that. It seems like this was this is a good possible roster upgrade to go along with a guy like Keegan Murray as well. Do you look at that as maybe one of the first times that they put something together that made sense in the offseason?
Yeah, it felt like they have a plan. Before, we would be going like, what are you doing? Or the other way, they would do nothing.
Right.
Like, what was Monty's first year? What did you do? You draft someone, and then you just all you do outside of that is add a fringe roster, fringe rotation guy in GR3, and you sign Hassan Whiteside. So it was like either the plan was confusing or they did nothing over 3 or 4 GMs. You're just like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, this time it feels like there's a plan. Then with all that being said, Monty doesn't have a new deal. So it's like, okay, this could still all go crazy in a few months, but I think, they have it's clear they had a plan. And in years prior, the plan kind of seemed to be, well, we'll go after this guy. And if that doesn't happen, what do we do? I mean, I think they have a plan. It looks, like you said, on paper, it looks good. And, you look at the West, it's clear Utah doesn't want to win again anytime soon. And then, I don't know why Minnesota gave up like 18 drafts to put Karl Anthony Towns at power forward. I don't understand that move at all.
That was nuts.
I was like, have they not watched Rudy in the fourth quarter of playoff games?
I don't think they have.
It's like KD said, as good as a player as Gobert might be, how can you be the defensive player of the year when they pick on you in the fourth quarter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know what, so, I mean, who knows, Minnesota could come down. Like I said, Utah doesn't want to win any games.
There's a window. Jason Jones is saying there's a window for the Sacramento Kings to move into a playoff spot.
I say the top 10 is within range. Like I said, San Antonio doesn't want to win games. So, the Rockets aren't. So you got, San Antonio.
By process of elimination, we did it.
Yeah, so you're just by sheer chance that this is 2K23, you're already ahead of 3 teams. Then you throw in OKC, that's 4. So
Houston,
you got 4 teams not trying to win. So now you've creeped up into that. We're almost in 10 range.
Big moment.
Because 4 teams clearly don't want to win next season.
This is what it took. Teams not wanting to win.
You take it out wherever you can get it.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't think anyone. If the Kings get in there next season, they're not going to be like, you know what though? Can we run it back and make sure Utah's trying? No, take it.
Did you see my boys coming out of the Chase Center the other day? Come on now.
That has to be one of the funniest clips ever for 2. One, because a lot of people were taking it really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people were like, "Oh my God, the Kings fans are crazy." It's like, just calm down. Summer League, let people, and then of course it leads to the social media wars, and people are arguing with each other. Oh, Kings, it's like, it's not that big a deal. I'm like, clearly the dude does. Like, I mean, if you can't laugh at a guy saying we're going to get 40 wins, like it's a championship. Like he's not Pat Bev winning a playing game over the. I mean, for me, it was all funny to me. Then and then you start seeing stuff nationally. Look at Kings fans. I'm like, come on, let them live, man. Have you seen them the last 16? Let them have some fun. They're going for their 3rd Summer League championship. I mean, come on, it's about to be a summertime dynasty. They pull it off this year. Back to back.
And that will also be the first outright California Classic champions.
I mean, I think you got to consider if they get a California Classic and a Vegas Summer League, you got to consider maybe not a whole banner, but maybe like a sign outside. You got to consider something.
This is the unified titles. They're trying to Roman Reigns this joint right here and unify the titles.
They're going to dominate summer like no one ever has. Like, who has a California Classic and a Vegas summer title? I mean, he's going to walk in with both belts opening night.
That's it. Acknowledge me.
He will be in God mode.
If Roman Reigns doesn't
on another level.
If Roman Reigns doesn't open the Golden One Center, if the Sacramento Kings win the California Classic today, they're up 50-46 right now, and they win the Summer League title, and Roman Reigns isn't standing at center court game 1 of the NBA season talking about acknowledge the Kings. Oh, it's a failure. It's a failure.
They've missed out on a golden opportunity if they don't make that happen. I'm rooting for it to happen. I'm rooting for it. Go ahead. Win it all. Win it all. You know.
Look at this. We're getting out on this note. Jason Jones is cheering the Kings.
Don't let them go undefeated in the preseason. Don't let them have like a 6-1 preseason on top of that.
Well, man, you see the vibes.
Oh, man.
You see the vibes.
I've got a bottle of wine here that I said I would drink when the Kings made the playoffs. It's been sitting for a minute. So I will pop that bad boy open, 2023, if all that stuff comes to fruition. Or it'll sit longer.
You see the vibes, Jason. You see what we're doing out here.
I love that.
Mr. Positivity,
I like this.
Kings fans, haters will say this is not really Jason Jones on the line. They'll say it's somebody else. They'll be like, no, he hates the Kings. The haters will say, even though the Kings embarrassed me when I said in 2019 they were getting in.
Oh.
I said they're getting. I actually had said, you know what? I can't make plans for April. I'm going to be in a playoff series.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's stick with the positive run that we're on right now.
Positivity all day. Yeah.
Let's get it, baby.
Got to win this one first.
That's right. Can't unify the titles till you win the first title. Jay, we appreciate you, homie. Thanks as always.
No problem. Anytime, guys. Take care.
Jay.